All right, Shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving a little praises, honor, and glory who rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that were well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. And this lesson, basically going into this thought I had the other day, right? The two words prophecy and patience, man. All right. They both have the same amount of letters, and they both have the same amount of letters, man. Okay. And I forgot what the number 8 means. All right. Maybe a brother knows, but I just thought that it's really, it was something. The Lord put that in my mind, right? That prophecy, the word prophecy, and the word patience both have the same letters, and that should tell you something. All right. And immediately, the first scripture coming to mind, as we all know, this is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Right? The word vision, Chazal 1, it says vision, oracle, prophecy. See? So it goes into prophecy, right? And what? Look, man, the prophecies, okay, like for example, the MOTB, Yahweh Shai's return, World War III, Jacob's trouble, all of these, we look forward to prophecy happening, man. All right, we look forward to the implementation of the MOTB, the mandation of it, rather. Okay, we look forward to that going down. We look forward to Jacob's trouble. We look forward to, the next T attack or whatever happening. We look forward to these things. Why? Because we know that these are all steps, prophecies that must play out before Yahweh Shai returns and brings the kingdom and establishes it on earth. You see, we know that these things. So when we look forward to these things happening, man. All right. I'm going to come back to this, what the scriptures say. This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, and verse 12. This is looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. NLT, it says, as you look forward to the day of the Most High, the day of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and speed its coming. That day will bring about the destruction of the heavens by fire, and the elements will melt in the heat. All right, so we're looking forward to, the return of Yahweh Shai, man. Look at that word, hasting. Sudeo, to haste, make haste, to desire earnestly. You see? Now we know that there are prophecies that have to that have to come about before Yahweh Shai's return. The Lord isn't just going to skip over the prophecies, man. Okay, and as a scripture, I'm gonna get here. 2 Ezra chapter 4, verse 37. It says, by measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he does not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. Yeah, because the Lord is not going to skip over prophecies. There is a set order, that the Lord has set up to how things are going to unfold. Okay. So it's not like, Yahweh Shai is going to come back in the midst of, like for example, right now, and then, like right now, Yahweh Shai out of nowhere just comes back. Now that's not going to happen. Okay, because that's not what the Lord set up to happen. You see? So actually, let me go back to Habakkuk chapter 2. All right. So we look forward to the day of Yahweh Shai to return. The day of Yahweh Shai's return. We look forward to it, right? But it says Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. See? So all of these prophecies, they all are for an appointed time that the Lord has set up for them to happen. They're going to happen, but the key word is appointed time. See? It's a certain time that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai has that these different things are going to happen. The Lord knows when the MOTB is going to be made mandatory. The Lord knows when The famine of the word is going to come. The Lord knows when Jacob's trouble is officially going to begin. The Lord knows these things. You see, we don't. We know of the prophecies, okay? And we look for the signs of these things, coming, okay? Sometimes, we make predictions of, maybe, for example, we'll say, like some, I've seen some lessons brothers recently did saying about, a dark winter ahead. Lord willing, we might have a dark winter, and we, say, Lord willing, maybe next year all hell will break loose, right? We say these things because we don't, one, we're looking for it. Two, we know it's going to happen, but, we don't know exactly when. But we measure the times we live in, right? We measure the time diligently in itself. We match the times we live in with the scriptures, you see? But we don't have exact dates of when, everything is going to happen, okay? But we know what's going to. There's different signs and things that you can, look around you and see, right? Now it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So what's an appointed time that the Lord has these things set up? And, meanwhile, man, it may feel like it's taking a long time when we live in, day to day. But don't forget, man, the times is speeding up. All right. Remember that, times, the Lord just sped the times up. Remember, the earth was started rotating faster. All right. Look, man, we already more than halfway through the year. July was, June actually was halfway through 2025, and now we're leaving August and going into September. See? So it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, meaning though it may feel like it's delaying, though it may feel like it's taking a bit long to happen, right? Because we want these things to go down. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So it's saying, though it may feel like it's taking a bit long, wait for it, because it's going to happen. See? And it's actually good to stay in the mind frame of these things, while it's happening, But from our day-to-day lives, we get vexed and everything, right? Let me just read this. Okay? But this is the book of Luke 21:19, and in your patience possess ye your souls. See, so now we got the word prophecy and the word patience. You see? Yahushua told us, in our patience possess our souls, man. So while we suffer in the truth and go through what we go through, we got to control ourselves, like our temperament, our attitude, etc. Yahushua said, possess ye your souls. Okay? So, even though we're going through our day-to-day, right, and man, when you really in the grit of it, you may be at the plantation, you might just get that feeling of, man, I'm just tired, man. I'm tired of working. I'm tired of doing this rat race, right? And I felt like that myself, but we feel like that, okay? Because we know that there's better that's going to happen. And we know that when all hell breaks loose, all right, but when they implement this MOTB, we know that we are no longer going to have to work. Okay, that's going to be like our second step of freedom. Because I want to do another lesson. Because our first step of freedom is us waking up to this truth. Okay, our minds ain't shackled to these lies that was forwarded by Esau worldwide. Okay, but and the Lord gave us, this truth which frees us. Okay. But when this thing goes down, you see, when this society collapses and everything, you're not gonna have to worry about going into work and clocking in. You see, when they implement the MOTB, you're not gonna have to worry about that type of stuff. Are you gonna live outside of society, etc. You see, but while we're here, while stuff is still up and running, until it actually, collapses, right? Possess your souls. Okay? Patience and prophecy have the same amount of letters, man. 8 letters in each word. Prophecy, which goes into meaning to say before, and patience, which goes into meaning suffering. You see? So while we're waiting for the prophecies to happen, we got to be patient, right? We got to be patient and wait on the Lord. Wait, because look, we're in the Lord's time. Things ain't going to happen on our time, okay? And things ain't going to happen however slow or however fast we wanted to. It's all going to happen on the Lord's time, man. You see? Got to be patient. Now, the scriptures say, right, in Isaiah 51... So like Isaiah 51:14, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed. And we're the captive exile, right? And we want to get set free, right? From being under Esau's rulership. It says, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his breath should fail. See, but we want to get set loose, man. Look, because once this thing is over, all right, because it's promised us rest, man. It's promised us all of that. Isaiah chapter 14. In verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, from the bond and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right? And this is talking about, us Israelites being in our captivity, serving this, this judgment out. You see, serving this slavery and all of that. All right? It says the Lord shall give thee rest. So the rest is coming. All right, let me look at that word rest. Nawak, to rest, settle down, and remain, right? Genesis 8:4, the Hebrew word Nawak is there. It says, and the ark rested in the 7th month on the 7th day of the month on the mountains of Ararat. From all that sailing on the waters it did from the flood, right? It finally, came to, it finally, settled down. You see? So we're gonna, we're going to rest, man. Very soon, Lord willing. All right, and it's going to start on that day when Yahweh Shah returns. That's going to be the start of our rest. You see? Look, you guys, it's so much more promised to us in this little, in this thing that we going through here in Babylon. It's so much more after this. We talk about America, Babylon, the great judgment, Jacob's trouble, the MOTB. But understand, man, there's a whole nother flip side to this, which is the kingdom of heaven. And it's so much more than just this is to come. It's so much more, man. There's still prophecies, all right, about the kingdom that have not yet been fulfilled. All right. What about, a little one shall become 1,000? What about the heathens bowing down for us? What about the sons of strangers building up our walls, and the sons of the alien, being our vine dressers and things like that? What about all of that? What about the stones of Jerusalem? You see? What about Revelation 21:4? No more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, nor any more pain. What about all of that stuff? Right? What about a rejuvenated earth? What about that? You see? So it's so much more. Okay? And another thing, this is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke and his burden. Right? Let me get, I believe I got to note this. Okay, yeah. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Right? Meaning when the kingdom comes, we won't be slaves under these heathens anymore. See? You ain't gonna have to work. We're not gonna be under these heathens no more, man. So we're now, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, we're the butt end of everyone's joke. We have all these stereotypes. People laugh at us, as a whole. Well, that's gonna flip, and we're gonna be on top, and we're not gonna be under these heathens no more. You see? Verse 9, but they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. Right? Meaning what? The Lord will deliver the Israelites out of captivity, and mainly out of America. It said the land, singular. Right? It says, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest. See, in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Because we will be in peace, and nobody will make us afraid, because we'll finally be in power, man. Look, we're gonna be in peace, man. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Don't you want that? Don't you want to have to not worry about, No, don't you just want peace, man? Our people are overall not in a state of peace right now. Okay? It's hard for us to really, grasp what the idea of peace is. Without the scriptures, it's hard for us to grasp that. You see? Because these curses and this captivity that's been placed on us. All right? But it's all good. The Lord is going to turn everything, make everything right. Okay? See, it's, man, back in Isaiah 14, let me get that. Isaiah the 14th chapter. See? Verses 3. I'm going to get it in this one, because I believe I got notes here too. Isaiah 14, 3 through 4. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right. The day that the Lord will give us rest from all this is in the kingdom. Throughout all our captivities, we've been in that sorrow, fear, and also we've had hard bondage, including this last captivity, which is the American captivity, where we still feel all of these emotions, sorrow, fear, that hard bondage, right? So this day of rest hasn't come yet, but it's prophesied to come. But when it comes, verse 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Babylon is what? America, right? Babylon the Great. And the king of Babylon now is Donald Trump, right? It says, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, right? The king, the golden city is America. The oppressor is Esau. The golden city is America. And at one point, it was looked at as so great and magnificent. Hence, is why it's called why Scripture said it was called the golden city. But it said, how hath the golden city ceased? Right? It says, but how will we Israelites get the rest that is spoken of in verse 3? When Yahweh sends Yahushua, the nuclear missiles come and destroy America. That's when America and the oppressor will cease. That is when Esau, the oppressor, will become the oppressed. That is when America, the golden city, will fall and be destroyed. So when that happens, then we are going to finally get rest. Then it's going to be over. This devil is going to fall. Look, once this place is destroyed, this devil is going to be completely out of power. Completely, man. Completely out of power. We will never have to worry about no damn devil telling us what to do anymore. Listen to those words again. Once America, aka Babylon the Great, is destroyed, we will never have to worry about this another devil, another Edomite, or even another heathen in general telling us what the hell to do. We are finally going to be in our rightful position, all right, as the top nation of this planet, all right, and the elect as gods of the earth under Yahweh and Yahushua, ruling in righteousness, man. You see, once this place goes down, because look, America's going to be destroyed, and as it's written, okay, as it's written, these elites, these international bankers, they're going to go into hiding, right? They're going to go into their underground bunkers. Revelation chapter 6, verse 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. See? So they're going to go into their underground bunkers, right? And the elites are going to escape this nuclear destruction. You see? But the thing is, because right now they're they're called the elites, right? These top international bankers, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, those types. right? They are the elite, but after this place goes down, man, they're gonna go into their bunkers, right? They're gonna survive the nuclear destruction, but they're not gonna come back out of their bunkers and continue to rule. No, 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 no. The settings on the game will have changed for good, man. They're going to come out of their bunkers and go into slavery. Okay? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, right? In verse 21, and this shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, right? So when this day comes, nuclear destruction and all of that, right after, a certain period of time passes, how and then the elect, whatever, come out of the chariot, right? The Lord is going to punish the elites through slavery. And that is Psalms chapter 149, starting in verse 6. If the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You see that? And once they go down, man, because they're going to serve their slavery, and after 1,000 years of serving slavery in the kingdom, these Edomites, they're going to be destroyed. All right? But once they're destroyed, Isaiah 14, continuing, I'm gonna jump down to verse 7. Actually, hold on. I'm going to read through Isaiah 14 and 5 now. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. The staff and scepter represent their power. So when Yahweh Shai comes back, right, Esau's power is going to be officially broken. Okay? Officially. There's a reason, I keep saying these words officially. For good, it's going to be stamped that this man is done. All right? It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Right? And that's what Esau did with these nations. Okay? His military might, political, financial control, going around the world, pressing the nations. Revelation 6 and 4 says he was, take peace from the earth and all of that, right? Say he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. So when Esau goes down, nobody's going to object to it. No one's going to, refuse it. But, no one's going to object to it. I'm going to just put it like that. Verse 7, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth in a singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellowers come up against us. So the whole earth is going to be at rest when this devil goes down. See? So it's the whole flip side to all of this that we're going through. Okay? And we know in order for, the kingdom to come, right, and all of these things, prophecy has to play out. And the Lord sent his prophets out here to tell about it. 2 Ezra 15, verse 1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, say the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Just because it feels like it's taken a long time doesn't mean that it's not faithful or true, right? And it's really not taking a long time. We see these things down the line, and man, pay attention to the faith boosters. Don't let your faith dwindle. Don't go back into the world, because Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 1, not verse 1, Sirach 2 and 14 says, woe unto you that have lost patience. See? Woe unto those that have went back into the world. See? And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? Right? You don't want to go back into the world. The scriptures say in Hebrews, let's get that. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 30, starting verse 35. Cast not away therefore your confidence, which hath great recompense of reward. See? You don't want to you don't want to, give your faith up, right? And turn back. See? Because it says hath great recompense of reward, man. I'm gonna jump down. The point I want to get in is in verse 38. It says, now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. So if you go back into the world, the Lord is not going to have any pleasure in you, man. All right? But, verse 39, but we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. You see that? We're of those that believe to the saving of the soul, man. All right? We're not of those that go back into the world. You see, so knowing that these prophecies are going to come, keep looking out for them, because looking out for them should keep you elated. It should keep you, looking to see, these prophecies going on and stuff like that, looking to see the prophecies, in the world, watching the news and all of that, that should boost your faith, all right? Because the Lord is working. Meanwhile, while we going through what we're going through, the Lord is working day by day, all right? Remember, the Lord is a master chess player. When you play chess, the big moves don't happen right away. You got to move this. You got to move a pawn, and you might got to move a rook. You might got to move a knight. You got to make these minor moves to add up and get to the circumstance to make a big move. See, so the Lord has stuff working out in the midst. So, as I said, Luke 21 and 19, in your patience possess ye your souls. See? So, that was just something the Lord put on my spirit, right? To count. The word prophecy, Prophecey, is an 8-letter word. And patience is an 8-letter word, Patience. So while we're waiting for these prophecies, we got to be patient, man, and continue to hold on to the faith, enduring the sufferings, plural. All right? So that's basically it. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders for Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.